Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining today. We wanted to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Singh Dev, Gonita, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj, assembled devotees. So continuing on the wonderful personality of Yamaraja, we are discussing different pastimes of Yamaraja. And when he came to this world as Vidur, because he was cursed by Manduka Muni to become a Shudra in this world, he came as the exalted Vidur. He's an incarnation of Yamraj. He was conceived by Vyasadev, no other than Vyasadev, literal incarnation of the Lord, in the womb of the maidservant of Ambika, mother of Maharaj Pandu. During the pastime of Manduka, the Muni cursed Yamraj to become a Shudra. And this Shudra incarnation of Yamraj was known as Vidur, the Shudra brother of Dhatarashtra and Maharaj Pandu. But the Shudra son of the Kuru dynasty was equally treated by Bhishma Dev, who was the grandfather or grandfather of Arjuna, along with his other nephews, these two, Dhatarashtra and Pandu. And in due course, Vidur was married with a girl who was also born in the womb of a Shudrani by a Brahman. Her name is Vidurani. Although Vidur did not inherit the property of his father, so the brother of Bhishmadev, or stepbrother, still he was given sufficient state property by Dhritarashtra, the elder brother of Vidur. Vidur was very much attached to his elder brother, and all along he tried to guide him on the right path. He was attached from the dharmic point of view, not from a body point of view. During the war, family war of Kurukshetra, Vidur repeatedly implored his elder brother to do the justice to the sons of Pandu. But Duryodhana did not like such interference by his uncle, and thus he practically insulted Vidur. So Vidur had to undergo a lot of pain, actually, by the words of his nephew, Duryodhana, and others as well, Dushashan. This resulted in Vidur's leaving home for pilgrimage and taking instructions from Maitreya. Vidur is one of the administrative demigods in charge of Pitalok, so as Yamraj. When Yamraj thus incarnated himself as Vidur, his post was officiated by Aramya. So this yesterday, I think Madhuben or Prabhupada were asking who took over the post. So this is the fellow who took over the post, Aryama, one of the many sons of Kashyap and Aditi. So he's obviously a very qualified demigod. The Adityas are the sons of Aditi, and there are 12 Adityas. Aryama is one of the 12 Adityas. And therefore, it is quite possible for him to take charge of the office of Yamraj during the 100 years absence in the form of Vidur. The conclusion is that Vidur was never a Shudra. So this is a very important point. In fact, we are not Brahman, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra. We are actually spirit soul. We have a body which may fall into these different categories, but we are not any of those things. But was greater than the purest type of Brahman. And as a matter of fact, Vidur was extremely intelligent, extremely devotional. And he recognized the position of Krishna very much so. Then there's another pastime concerning Savitri and Satyavan. In the Vanaparva, when Yudhishthir asked the sage Markandeya whether there has been a woman whose devotion matched Draupadi, the sage replied by relating the story of Savitri and Satyavan. So Draupadi is regarded as very chaste, even though she had 5 husbands. So Yudhishthira asked Markandeya Muni, has there been anybody more chaste than this? And Markandeya said, yes. There's a story of Savitri and Satyavan. Yam admired Savitri's courage and intellect. How? Why? So Savitri was more dazzling and beautiful than any other woman in the world. When it came time for her to be married, she had no suitor because all the men around her were intimidated by her beauty and her sharp mind. Her father washed his hands of the responsibility to get his daughter suitably married and asked her to find a husband for herself. Savitri found handsome Satyavan, whose father was not only blind but had lost his kingdom. Narad tells her, Savitri, that Satyavan will only live for 1 year from the day they marry. This is quite a shocking news. But Satyavan loved Savitri loved Satyavan. Anyway, her father did not object to this most unsuitable husband. And Savitri leaves the luxuries of the palace to live with Satyavan and his parents on the edge of the forest where Satyavan earns a living as a woodcutter. On the day that Satyavan is supposed to die, Savitri goes with him into the forest. As he is chopping wood, he is overcome with fatigue and falls asleep in her lap. Savitri knows that this is the moment of his death. So Savitri is aware this is going to be the time. When Yam comes to claim his body and soul, Savitri refuses to leave her husband and follows the god of death. Very brave, Savitri. Yam repeatedly tells her to go back, and each time she argues with him, extolling first the virtues of obedience to Dharma and then the company of good people. Eventually, she praises Yam himself, the wielder of the rod of punishment, dispenser of justice. Yam is impressed not only with her devotion to her husband, but also by her intellect. Each time she defeats him with one of her arguments, he offers her a boon, any boon except the return of her husband's life, because Yamraj was to, his time, Satyavan's time was up. Yamraj was to do his duty. So he became pleased with Savitri and he kept saying to her, yes, what would you like? But he couldn't give her one boon, her husband's life. So first Savitri asked her father-in-law's sight to be restored. Then she asks that his kingdom be returned to him. So look at this, Savitri is asking for the in-laws. Finally, she asks Yam that she be the mother of 100 sons. Yam is happy to grant her that until he realizes that the boon cannot be fulfilled unless Satyavan comes back to life as her husband. He admits defeat and Satyavan awakes as if from a deep sleep. So this is when Savitri defeated Yamraj. Yam restored Satyavan to life only because Savitri was so devoted. She was willing to follow her husband even into the realm of the dead. It was this single wifely virtue more than any other that compelled the god of death to agree to her demand. So very nice pastime. Yaksh Prashna. In the Yaksh Prashna, one day while living in exile in the forest, Yudhishthir finds that while attempting to drink water from a lake, all his brothers have been killed by a mysterious Yaksh, a celestial entity. So this Yaksh, he was like, when Yudhishthir arrives, the Yaksh in the form of a crane. So like crane is a bird, type of a bird. Challenges him to answer all these questions or else face the same consequences as his brothers. So his brothers had all tasted this water and they had all so-called died. But Yudhishthir, he was also challenged by the crane to answer the questions. And Yudhishthir did. Impressed by Yudhishthir's strict adherence to Dharma and his answers to the riddles posed, Yam revealed himself as his father. So that crane actually was, or the Yaksh was actually Yamraj. And he blessed Yudhishthir and he brought his younger Pandav brothers back to life. Yudhishthir's answers to the Yakshas were as follows. So this is very instructive. The Yakshas, who really is a helpful companion? Steady intelligence is a very good friend and can save one from all dangers. How can one acquire something very great? Everything desirable can be attained by the performance of tapasya, austerity. What is amrit? Nectar. Milk is just like nectar. So this is the crane asking the question. The brothers have all so-called died, and Yudhishthira is answering the questions. And then later, when Yamaraja becomes happy, he reveals himself to Yudhishthira. So the questions continue. What is the friend bestowed upon men by the Devatas? The wife is such a friend. Yudhishthira answers. What is the best kind of happiness? True happiness comes as a result of contentment. Another question. Why does one give in charity to Brahmins, artists, servants, and the kings? For religious merit, prestige, maintenance, protection, respectively. Why does one forsake friends? Lust and greed drive one to forsake friends. What is the only food? The cow is the only food, for the milk that she produces is used to make ghee, which is used to perform sacrifice, pleased by which the demigods give rain, which is the grains, which causes the cranes to crow. Therefore, it should be understood that the cow is the root cause for all kinds of food. This is really interesting answer. Really interesting answer. What is the king of all knowledge? Knowledge pertaining to Supreme Personality of Godhead is the king of all kinds of knowledge. What is ignorance? Not knowing one's constitutional duty. Living beings are being thus fried in this pan. This is the real news of what's happening in the material world, which is a miserable place full of ignorance. What is the best bath? That which cleanses the mind of all impurities. What is real charity? Real charity is protecting one from the onslaught of material nature. Another question. Since Dharma, Artha, Karma, so that's virtue, profit, and lust, are opposed to each other, how can they coexist harmoniously? These three become congenial to one another when one has virtuous wife. Who is condemned to everlasting hell? When one promises a Brahmin charity, but upon his arrival refuses to give him charity. What makes a Brahmin? Birth, learning, or behavior? It is behavior alone that makes a Brahmin, a person a Brahmin. Even one who is expert in the four Vedas, born of Brahmin parents, but whose behavior is not proper, should be considered a Shudra. Who is pleasing? A person who speaks in a pleasing manner. And then the last four questions, great significance. Who is truly happy? One who cooks his own food, is not dependent on anyone, is not a debtor, does not spend more than he can afford, does not have to leave home to make in order to earn a living, does not have to over endeavor for material things, is truly happy. What is the most wonderful thing? The most amazing thing is that even though every day one sees countless living entities dying, he still acts and thinks he will live forever. So this is one of the most instructive things that Yudhishthira advises. We're seeing people die around us, but we're thinking we will never die. What is the real path to follow in this life? The best path is to follow in the footsteps of pure devotees, for they are actual Mahajans whose hearts are the sitting places of real truths regarding religion. What is news? That is what is real situation in the material world. So what is news? The material world is like a frying pan. The sun is the fire, the cook, and the nights are the fuel. The passing seasons are stirring ladle, and the time is the cook. All living entities are thus being fried in this pan. This is the real news of what is happening in the material world, which is a miserable place full of ignorance. So these are really amazing answers given by Yudhishthira. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes of celestial Nag snakes, I am Ananta, of aquatic deities, I am Varun, of departed and his ancestors are Aramya, Ar, Yama, and among the dispensers of law, I am Yam, Lord of Death. So Krishna actually says, I am actually Yamaraj. I am death. In the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavad Puran, a detailed description is given of the punishment of a sinner upon their death, beginning with their seizure and journey to Yamlok. So as a criminal is arrested for punishment by the constables of the state, a person engaged in criminal sense gratification is similarly arrested by the Yamadutas, who bind him by the neck with a strong rope and cover his subtle body so that he may undergo punishment. While carried by the constables of Yamraj, he is overwhelmed and trembles in their hands. While passing on the road to Yamlok, he is bitten by dogs. He can remember the sinful activities of his life. He is thus terribly distressed. So this is in the third canto. And then in the sixth canto, Yamraj instructs his messengers, the Yamadutas, when questioned about who has the supreme authority in the universe, since there are so many gods and demigods. So this is his answer. Yamraj said, my dear servants, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me, above all the other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is the one supreme master and controller. The partial manifestations of his personality are Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, who are in charge of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe. He is like the two threads that form the length and breadth of the woven cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose. As he is referring to Narayan. In the 10th canto, Krishna and Balaram travel to Yamraj's abode to bring back the dead son of their guru, Sandipani Muni. This is a very interesting pastime. Lord Janardhan took this conch shell that had grown around the demon's body, and went back to the chariot. He then proceeded to Samya Mani. So this is the beloved capital of Yamraj, Lord of Death. Upon arriving there with Balaram, he loudly blew his conch shell. In Yamraj, who keeps the conditions all in check, came as soon as he heard the resounding vibration. Yamraj elaborately worshipped the two lords with great devotion. Then he addressed Lord Krishna, who lives in everyone's heart. O Supreme Lord Vishnu, what shall I do for you and Balaram, who are playing the part of ordinary humans? Supreme Personality Godhead said, suffering the bondage of his past activity, my spiritual master's son was brought down here to you, O great king. Obey my command and bring this boy to me without delay. Yamraj said, so be it, and brought forth the Guru's son. Then those two most exalted Yadus presented the boy to their spiritual master and said to him, please select another boon. So this is in the 10th canto. In the Brahma Purana, it says, Yam is the Lord of justice and associated with Dharma. He has a daughter called Sunita, and a grandson called Vena, who turned his back on Dharma. There's different explanations in the Brahma Purana about Yamraj. The various hells of Yam are described along with their concomitant sins. This chapter describes how Yam chastised his own mother for cursing him to his father. Yam is destroyed by Shiva at one point after coming to slay the soul of Makandeya. But at the behest of the gods, he's revived afterwards. So this is the power of Shiva. He can kill, but he can revive as well. Krishna describes himself as Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Indra, and Yam. This is a description of the terrible servants of Yamraj. And that description was also given in the 6th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Description of the agony of death for sinners, including being caught by Yam with his noose and tortures suffered in his abode. Yam is killed in battle by Kartikeya. On Shiva's order, Yam is revived by Nandini. Riding on his terrible buffalo, the god of death, Yam, hastens to that place. He was holding his spectra, the rod of chastisement. His physical body was yellow in color. In prowess, he was comparable to no one. He was unparalleled in brilliant strength and power of demanding obedience. His limbs were well developed and he wore garlands. So in the Garud Purana as well, descriptions are given. Yam and his realm, where sinners are punished, are extensively given in detail, including the 12th chapter, the realm of Yam. In this text, the name of Yam's wife is Shyamala. So this is the Yamadutas coming and asking Yamraj, is there somebody greater than you? So that's Yamraj. Any questions, any comments? There's quite a lot to absorb in there. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu, there is no question.
Yes.
It's not a question, but okay. Carry on, Prabhu.
Yes. Carry on.
Oh, yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare
You know,
Krishna.
in this Yamraj, like the whole of the chapter was really good. It was nice to know everything. But one thing I don't understand, I mean, because it's written in the books, that's why we say that after what you have done, all your karams, the Yamraja comes and take you, and then they say you are beaten and you are thrown in by dogs and all this, what is called, some rivers come and you have to go inside there. So who actually has seen that? Nobody has seen it.
Yeah, because it's described. It's described not just in one scripture, many scriptures.
Yeah, but nobody, it has described, but does anybody seen it that thing has happened?
Otherwise, it wouldn't be described. Yes. It's the descriptions are in detail.
Maybe I think the Sant Mahatma must have.
Yes.
No, nobody's eyewitness. Does?
Yeah, of course. Otherwise, these accounts wouldn't be written. They would be. Of course,
Guru
some of
Puran,
us have seen it. But actually, even if you look at some of the accounts of, for example, there was somebody who passed away or was about to pass away, and he saw the Yamadutas come for him. He saw the dogs coming for him. But then he woke up. Even in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the stories of Ajamil, who saw the Yamadutas come for him. So there are accounts of people seeing these terrible forms at the time of their passing away. You know, some people really are very scared. They're saying, wow, what is, there's a frightened look on their face at the time of death. Perhaps this is when Yamraj or Yamaduta is coming for them. So some people are not scared at all because, perhaps, they've been protected somehow. So it just depends.
Yeah, I remember when my mother-in-law was in the last stage in the hospital. She was 98 or 99 roughly. Okay. But and my husband and I was there, and she was looking constantly out of window because bed was near window. And I asked, "Ba, what are you looking for?
What are you seeing?" Yeah.
And she said, "I don't know. Somebody's coming. I don't know. That was her answer.
Yeah. This is quite common. Yeah, I've heard quite a few.
And next day, very early morning, hospital rang, and they said, you just come down to hospital, and my mother-in-law was not anymore there.
I see. Okay, interesting. Okay.
So I remember she didn't answer exactly, but she
Right.
said she's seen something. I don't know what.
Right. Right. Interesting. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Yes.
One of my relatives was telling me her
Uh-huh.
grandma, her nanny, when she was in hospital, she was about to die. Thank to her, she said, I can see small people with big head around me. That's what she described. Must have been the Yamdut. I don't know.
And who was that?
Someone, my cousin's grandma.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And did she survive? Did she survive that or?
No, she didn't. No.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Prabhu, when you were reading, so you said about Lord Shiva destroyed Yam. I didn't understand that story.
Yeah. Well, there've been few incidences. Even Kartikeya one time defeated Yamraj, But then this family is a very potent family, Lord Shiva. They can restore life. So even though they may have defeated Yamraj, or maybe even destroyed him, they can't destroy the soul, of course. So they can they can again give that person, that soul, that position yet again. So they revive that position. So there are certain pastimes that Lord Shiva, they have these pastimes between the Devatas. They defeat each other and then they're restored back to life again. So
Was it when Yamraj entered the place where Lord Shiva and Uma Devi Parvati was?
no, I'm not sure.
No. Yeah,
No, maybe.
they were having some. Yeah.
It doesn't actually give the actual pastime of what happened, but it
Or he
might
was
be. It
called
probably is
by.
something like that. Yeah, it probably is something like that. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is something like that.
Prabhuji, I don't understand about Kartikeyan, Yamdut, whatever you explain. I can't.
Kartikeya. Yeah. Kartikeya is the warrior of the demigods. He's the warrior in chief, commander in chief.
Yeah.
So there must have been some pastime where he actually also defeated Yamraj. But then the demigods would have, because Yamraj's position is a very important position. He metes out punishment. Oh, here it is. Yam is killed in battle by Kartikeya, but on Shiva's orders, Yam is revived by Nandini. So
Who is Nandini?
that's Lord Shiva's carrier.
Oh, Nandi. Yeah.
Nandini, yeah.
Main carrier, yeah. Nandini.
Yeah, and here it is. Lord Shiva is destroyed by Shiva after coming to claim the soul of Markandeya. That was a pastime. Markandeya Rishi.
Oh, Markandeya.
Because Markandeya Rishi is supposed to live across many yugas, So, in fact, he lives, I think, is it a whole day of Brahma or something? Something really, really long life.
When the earth was covered with water once, he was the only survivor.
He was the only one, yeah.
Yeah.
So you mean Markandeya after death came back and lived long?
Yeah. He never died, actually. They were trying to take his soul, but Markandeya was he had very, very long life. Yeah, very, very long.
Interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
And Prabhu, I just want to add something.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
don't know if anybody knows. In Mauritius, before anyone die, sometimes the dogs, they start like barking.
Yeah.
That's true. I had experience same when my mother passed away. Because of in India, there's in a street, there's so many dogs sometimes lives in the street. And in our street, when I go India and I say to my brother, oh my God, you got plenty of dog around here. And because of, in morning and afternoon and evening,
They're barking.
they save some biscuits and everything, and they feed them. My family always feed them,
Got it.
So,
Yeah,
but when I've been to India last, my mother-in-law was unwell, and I reached the day before, I think, she passed away. And same night, you don't believe it, my God, dog was crying. And I was so disturbed. And in morning, my mother passed away.
Interesting. Yeah, they have a sixth sense, don't they, the dogs?
Yeah, so they
sense.
said in our my elder, my dada was saying that dog always know before Yamraj come. They see the Yamraj is coming in this house.
Okay, got it.
I don't know what's true. Something, we have to accept. We do.
Yeah, many things. No,
Can I, Hare Krishna, can I say the same?
Yes.
What Madhuben said. This is like 1920, 2001. When we went to India, and as we arrived at Porbandar, and then just we went by like flight, and then in the evening we reached at our my husband's what is called Mota Bapa is what not grandfather.
Yeah.
Big father, yeah. And he was in poor condition. His health wasn't very good. So when we reached there, and as soon as we were arriving the door or come out from the taxi, there was a dog sitting there and he was crying. And my husband just said, this dog is crying. It's not going to be a good news today. But we all went inside, and as soon as we went inside, I think like my, I can say father-in-law, big father-in-law, he was just waiting for us. We went there, give this jal, Ganga jal to Sipata, and everybody was praying for him. And then all of a sudden they said that he's not going to be anymore, so we still have to take him to hospital. And they took him to hospital, and that we went, we saw him 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock. After that they took him to hospital, and 10 o'clock he passed away.
Right.
And then that was my first experience. They bring the body straight back home, and then whole night the body was in the house. Everybody was just praying, but the next day they take the body back. So this is like my first experience, and the way just now Madhuben said that the dogs can say, and my husband said same thing. The dog is crying. It's not going to be a good news to them. Then this thing happened. So my father-in-law passed away, like my husband's big papa.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? It's
and that was terrible night, because we just went, and the 15 days we had to keep the mourn, and like sympathy, and then funeral, and people coming. In India it's so different. They cry
they cry like crazy. It's mad.
They cry like crazy, but they keep beating their chest.
Yeah.
And it is something new for us.
Yeah. No, it's that's what also keeps that soul there, because he's thinking, oh, everybody's crying for me, I'll stay here. But we should actually let the soul go, otherwise.
Anyway, Hare
you.
Krishna,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's true, Prabhu. When my brother-in-law died, he died in a car accident. So his sister was crying every day. And she said she had a dream where my brother-in-law came and said, "Don't cry because this is stopping me from going upwards,"
Seriously,
Yes.
that is incredible. That is good to hear, actually. Because we say these things, but this is actually amazing. So that was your sister-in-law?
Are you
My
saying
brother-in-law who passed away in a
Your
car.
brother.
He died in a car accident.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when was that?
It was 2015.
Okay.
You met him. We know we brought them to South London Temple
Right.
when they came
Long
it
time.
was a long time ago. I brought him to your temple. Yeah.
Right. Wow. That's very interesting. Very interesting.
And Prabhuji, dog when he's barking, it's different, and when he is crying is a different type. You just you can notice this is different. Is he actually is crying? You can see the tears in their eyes.
Okay.
It's
Interesting.
totally different. It's totally different. Normally they make noise different way, and this one is different.
Got it.
So that every Jew got the different, sense, special sense.
Interesting. Okay, let's stop there. Thank you for sharing all that, Madhuben and Shyammalini and
Thank you.
Madhuben. No, thank you. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Oh my God.
Hare Krishna,
Oh my
Prabhuji?
God, yeah.
Hare